So you're going through probate in the state of Georgia right now, and one of your relatives just won't cooperate. Well, let's talk about that. My name is Tanya Bird, and I am with the Bird Group, who is brokered by Keller Williams Realty Atlanta Partners here in the greater Atlanta area. And me and my team specialize in probate. We help families navigate real estate through that whole probate process. And one of the questions I come across is, what if one of my family members doesn't cooperate? Like, what can I do? So let's go through 5 areas of what happens when somebody doesn't cooperate during the probate process. You can still probate the estate. Now, whether there's a will or not, if there is a will, then you're going to be probating as an executor. And if there's no will, then you will be probating as an administrator. And either way, you can still go through that process. But if you can't get the heirs to sign, even those heirs who might be written out of the will, they still have to sign that you're going through the probate process. It can really slow things down and have the probate process come almost to a screeching stop, because the probate court will eventually try to get everyone to sign and try to get everyone to cooperate. But if they won't, eventually they will determine who will be able to probate the estate. Now, once you get your letters of administration or your letters of testamentary, there might be some areas that might not be waived. And that's my second part. If you have somebody who's not cooperating, there may be certain things that won't be waived, and you have to bring them in front of the probate court. So there's actually 4 things that can be waived on the probate petition. And one is a leave of sale, which simply means that if it's waived, then you don't have to go in front of the court and get permission to sell the property. Also, you can have inventory waived, meaning you don't have to go and allocate for all the personal items that the person owns and turn that information into the court, as well as accounting. You don't have to send over an accounting report of all the assets over to the court. And then the final thing that can be waived is the bond. The bond is kind of like an insurance policy that protects the heirs, so that if the person who takes the oath as an administrator or an executor, that bond can protect those heirs in case that person goes wild and doesn't do what they're supposed to do with the estate. Normally, wills waive all 4 of those things and people can move forward. But if somebody's objecting the will in any way, it will come to a standstill. And if you can't get all heirs to sign in an administrator capacity, then they will give you your letters of administration. But all of those things you'll have to take it to the court, which really slows down the process. I always try to encourage families to get along. The house is probably the most worthy asset in the portfolio. And the quicker you can get that house sold and probate settled, the quicker everybody can get their distributed funds and everybody can go on their happy way. But you have some people who dig in their heels. So now, let's say that you do have your letters of administration, or maybe you have your letters of testamentary, but you have to do this whole leave of sale thing. In order to do a leave of sale, you actually have to have a buyer ready, willing, and able to buy the house. And that buyer has to be willing and able to wait through this probate process, because once we get that contract, you take it to the probate court and they petition for the leave of sale. Now, once that's petitioned, anybody, including heirs, can object and say, we don't like this contract, or we don't like the sales process, or we don't, the sales price, we don't want to sell the house. I had a case where the lady, one of the sisters, didn't want to sell the house because she wanted to buy it, but she didn't have enough money to buy it. So she's digging her heels in and objected. So what if you do have somebody object and dig their heels in? Well, then the next step would be mediation, where you would hire a mediator who is a neutral party to everyone. And you would have your attorney on your side with you, and they would have their attorney on their side with them. And between you and the attorneys and the mediator, everybody just tries to work out what is the best possible solution. If you can come to a conclusion on mediation, it can go in front of the judge and the judge can sign off and give you the leave of sale. If you still can't agree after mediation, because mediation costs money, but it costs money to go in front of a judge even more. So let's say you can't agree on the mediation, then there would be a hearing set and everybody would have to go in front of the probate judge. And at that point, the probate judge would determine whether or not the leave of sale, like who would get to, whether or not it'd be able to go forward on the leave of sale and everybody can close and get the funds distributed to the estate from the sale of the house. Here is my biggest tip. You're gonna need a good probate attorney on your side if somebody's not cooperating, because that person's gonna be able to guide you, do all the petitions, ask for the hearings on your behalf, and after all, you're trying to administrate or be the executor over an estate, and that is like a second job in and of itself. Trying to maintain another household, it can be very tiring and taxing, and so you kind of need somebody in your corner over there handling the legal aspect of things. From a real estate perspective, you really need to have somebody who understands the ins and out of probate from a real estate. And not all real estate agents are the same. There are some people who don't know anything about probate, have never done probate, don't really know the process, doesn't know that, hey, if you got your letters of administration and you have to have the leave of sale, like they don't know how to guide you through that. And it is a completely different kind of marketing and approach to just taking a house to the market when you already have the leave of sale, because that's just like selling a house, a regular house, versus having to kind of have this waiting period and not know when deadlines are, and the buyer on the other end has to understand that we don't know when deadlines are. Having a real estate agent to understand that can make your deal go way smoother rather than botch up the sale in the process. If you need help with a real estate agent, I can cover the greater Atlanta area, but if you're in a different part of Georgia and you need help in that area, or heck, if you're in a different state and you're watching this and you need help, I can get you connected to an agent who specializes in probate so that you're well taken care of. So I know that it is never great news when somebody's digging in their heels and not cooperating. It just makes the process even a bigger headache. Like, you're grieving your loved one, you're dealing with this estate, and now you don't have cooperation. Emotions run high. People are skeptical whether or not you as the administrator or executor are doing the right thing. Families fight. It's unfortunate, but at least you know what you're up against. So if you like this kind of content and videos around probate, be sure to check out our next video, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.